o'clock. We open the meeting, Board of Health. And I think we have a customer right in front of me. Would you approach the table, please?
I actually need to
3
recruit
Winchester
myself.
Drive.
I'm sorry?
I'm going to recruit myself.
Okay. Thank you.
Good evening.
All sorts of
You gave us the week off last time.
How about that?
Thank you.
Thanks. We needed that.
So I'm Kirk Fitzpatrick with Civil Solutions. I'm here with Kyle Mann for his property at 3 Westchester Drive. And basically Kyle purchased this property last year. It was a foreclosure, existing house with a failed system in the backyard, with the intention of rehabbing the house and putting a new system in the backyard and reselling it. So we went out and did a couple test holes in the backyard initially and started doing some design work in the back. And then Kyle started looking further into the house and found that it really was not savable. The whole bottom floor, all the joists are gone on it. It's like a
Wow.
trampoline on the
You're gonna
inside.
take it out.
Not
So,
a good structure. Yeah.
Rather than trying to rehab the house,
Mhm.
they're going to demolish it and put up a new one.
I see.
So we moved to the front yard and conducted 2 additional test holes this spring. There are wetlands associated with this. There's some wetlands in the back here. There's a small pocket over here. Ipswich Drive runs across the back. And then there's also some across the street. So this is the limit of the 50-foot buffer zone, and this is the limit of the 100. So we've gotten the system as far as we possibly can from the edge of the wetlands. We're not able to run a perk on the site. It's extremely wet. The backyard had a water table at 18 inches. The front yard had a water table at 24, and I believe at 32 inches. So we took a soil sample, had a sieve analysis done, it came back as a class 2. So it's designed based on a percolation rate of 30 minutes an inch.
Right.
So the system we've designed is actually something new. It's called the GeoMat. Kevin and I went to a seminar, luckily in February, and
Just Kevin?
Kevin Ritchie, my partner,
Oh, okay.
and found that.
I had this printout.
Okay, good. Yeah, it's a pretty neat system actually, and it has it's approved for remedial use and for general use, so you can use it for new construction and for repairs.
Very nice.
When you use it for repairs, it allows for a reduction in the groundwater offset up to 2 feet because it's bedded in the ASTM C33 sand, 6 inches underneath.
Very nice.
In addition, when the system is pressure dosed, which this system is, so basically we're going to come out to a 1,500-gallon septic tank, 2-compartment. That's going to feed a 1,000-gallon pump chamber, and then that's going to pump up the liquid through pressure distribution and feed the entire system at once. So rather than having 4-inch pipes flowing by gravity in the system, it's 1.25-inch pipes with hand-drilled 3/16-inch holes at 3-foot spacing. So when the pump kicks on, the entire leach field gets the same dose at the same time. So you get very equal distribution. So when it's designed using the pressure distribution, it only requires 2 feet for breakout grading requirements. So it's very similar to the drip irrigation systems, or the drip dispersal systems, which are, you might have seen a couple. That's what they used over at Cooper Farms.
Okay.
It's, it literally looks like drip irrigation tubing. It looks like a
Very-
garden hose
very
with emitters on it. So that's what this is very equivalent to. But it shouldn't have any of the freezing problems that's
In the
sometimes
winter.
are seen with the drip irrigation.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's a pressure distribution, it's going to pump the liquid out. It's 3/16-inch holes. So when the pump kicks on,
Boom.
it'll continue to drain, and the pipe feeding will drain all the way back to the pump chamber. So you won't have any liquid standing in the pipes when it's not on. The other advantage of this system is it's approved for a 5-foot offset to the foundation rather than the standard 20 feet. So where we have a very limited area, it's only an 8,000 square foot lot, this system works extremely well as far as meeting the grading requirements
How
and the
many,
offset to the
how many
foundation.
bedroom? 3?
It's going to be proposed 3-bedroom.
Mhm.
The existing house is actually 4-bedroom, so
I
he's
understand.
dropping a bedroom.
Right. Okay.
How many, have you done these before? Is
Nope,
this your first one?
This is new.
Mhm.
But we have a
Interesting then,
couple
huh?
going on.
Yeah, it is interesting, yeah. Yeah.
The theory behind it is it's kind of
I see now, yeah.
It's a corrugated material with big voids in it, and it's wrapped in a hygroscopic membrane, so it actually absorbs the water away from the fabric, or away from the, away from the, I guess, I'm not sure what to call the material in the middle, but it absorbs the water away from it, and then it gets wicked into the sand. So with that combined with the pressure distribution, you should get very equal distribution throughout the whole leaching area.
It looks like
It's
the
new
tubing is
stuff,
put
yeah.
into like a sleeve too,
Right.
is that, so
Mhm.
it goes through the
See-
tubing and then
Mhm.
sieved or filtered through the.
Yeah, so basically, this would be the pipe on top, it's gonna come out through this orifice and spray into this, it's kind of an open membrane, and then that's gonna fill up a little bit and get drawn into the sand around it through the membrane.
Mhm.
What's the purpose of that sleeve that the pipe's in, or that membrane, whatever you're calling it?
Because it's hygroscopic, it absorbs the water and it pulls the water to the outside edge of that
Equally.
that core, the
Okay.
core material.
How long is being in?
It got approved in Massachusetts in 2017.
Okay.
It's coming up from Connecticut. I think it's pretty popular down there. Popular enough where they haven't really tried to market it in this area.
Right.
So they're starting to move, move out from Connecticut.
Especially when there's a lot of water. That's gonna help out.
Mm.
It's advantageous because it's got a very low profile.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got a very similar approval to the Presby, but then it has to be pressure dosed, where the Presby is gravity fed. So that's an added cost, but the fact that it only requires 2 feet to break out, you save tremendously in the retaining walls. So I would guess you're gonna see more and more of this.
Yeah, I'm
Any
curious,
maintenance
the
at all in
cost.
the bleaching
That's
field,
neat.
or just the tanks?
No, just the tanks.
Mhm.
Very nice.
It is, the actual, it comes in 100-foot rolls. The rolls of it are expensive. We've been told $2,500 a roll. But the cost you'll save by not building a retaining wall, it should
Yeah.
easily pay for
And less
itself.
fill too, right? It's,
Lot less fill.
yeah.
I'm an installer myself too, so we compared it to the Presby system, and it works out to be pretty similar in pricing as far as a foot basis.
Almost same price, practically.
Yeah, but the profile is much smaller. so-
Right, right, right. So you got 50 feet away from the wetland?
More than 50.
Oh, good.
Yep.
All right.
And what about to the lot line?
10 feet to the lot line.
Okay.
And this plan's been stamped by a registered land surveyor. And this actually all be laid out by a registered land surveyor, where a new
All right.
house is gonna be built.
Anything else you wanted to tell us? I can give you the results, right? I don't want to read the
Can
whole
we
thing.
read, you want to read Jim's notes?
Yeah, I'm
Well,
gonna.
we have to go by the,
Hmm?
there's no abutters, obviously.
No, you don't have no better, right?
Well, there's none here.
Nobody
know,
here.
well,
They were
just
notified
going-
at the initial
Just going
hearing.
by
Mm.
the order of the way that the
Okay.
discussion should continue. So,
I'm going to give you the final verse, okay? Because I think everybody knows what it's all
I
about.
think you
can
should
I
read
just
the
ask
whole
one
thing.
question? I think
Okay.
there was, I think we got an email about a change, and then we don't have Jim's comments are from,
No, we got the comment.
these are up to date and
Yeah.
accurate.
Yeah,
When Jim was in the office today, the new plans were brought, so he
Yeah.
did look through it, and he didn't have any amendments to his
Okay.
comments.
so do you want me to read it from the
But,
beginning?
so we don't have the
Yeah.
permit today because he didn't write the permit since he didn't have
Okay.
the most recent plan. So
Okay.
we'll have that for next meeting if you
Okay.
vote to approve.
Okay, go
Excuse
ahead.
me, sorry. So basically, when we submitted the plan initially, we did not have it as a pump system. It was fed by gravity, can
Right.
feed the system by gravity.
Mhm.
But their manual wasn't completely clear about the reduction in the breakout requirement. We actually sent the plan down for review by them, just because it is our first one.
Yeah.
They did not have any issues with it. Jim called and spoke with them again, and they said that the 2 foot for breakout grading was only applicable where it's a pressure dose system.
Right,
So
right.
then we changed it to pressure dose, and those are plans that Kyle brought down to Jim today. So that's really the only change, is
Okay.
switching, adding the pump and switching it to pressure distribution instead of by gravity.
Okay, Westchester, 3 Westchester Drive, the existing sewage disposal system for the site is in failure. the leaching area in a seasonal high water table. Soil testing was conducted and due to high water table, a soil sample was sent for seed analysis to establish a perk rate. The applicant planned to rebuild the existing house and reduce the number of bedrooms from 4 to 3. Am I correct? This will result in a proposed house and septic system being installed outside the 50 feet wetland buffer zone. Am I correct?
Correct.
The applicant is proposing the use of the innovative system leaching area, they call it GeoMet system. The DEP approval of this system allows for a reduction in the offset between the leaching area and the groundwater, or up to 2 feet with the Board of Health approval. The property in question has a number of restrictions which prevent the design of a fully compliant system. High water table, small lot, high perk rate, and wetland. The proposal design maximize compliance with the Title V and your regulation. The area is served by town water. The applicant is reducing the number of bedrooms in the house, and the size design will minimize the potential for service runoff. I don't have an issue with the applicant request. You happy now?
Yeah, that sums it up.
Entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the system at 3 Westchester for the GeoMat
Make sure they get the stamp.
stamped,
That's the registered land surveyor stamp.
stamped 4419.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
You all set?
So it's got the 4 variances. Do you need to review those? Or just the plan as designed?
According to
Sometimes
what,
we've gone through the list of variances.
Okay.
Okay.
That's too late
according
now.
to this, you all set. Am I correct, Ann? Janet?
You can,
He says,
either way, you can go through if you want to
Okay.
mention the
So
variances.
now we'll open it up and talk about your variances.
Yeah.
Well, do you think you'll be doing more of these now?
I think you'll see
If it's
this.
successful, you'll,
Yeah, I think it's very applicable for small lots of
Yeah.
seem
groundwater.
like reasonable.
Lot in Littleton.
There are a
Yeah,
lot more.
that neighborhood.
Yeah.
If we can use it to
If it
save some
works
folks
well,
some money, it's
If it
certainly
works well,
a good application.
So what do you have for variances?
So we're
Sounds like
asking
10
for,
feet.
reduce the offset to groundwater from 4 feet to 2 feet with the use of the GeoMat. 310 CMR 15405 1B to reduce the requisite offset from a septic tank to a foundation from 10 feet to 5 feet. So we're putting in a monolithic H20 tank on the side here. So a monolithic tank has the seam at the top instead of halfway down. So it's basically like a bathtub with a flat lid on it. So it's really impossible for it to leak. We're asking for approval under 310 CMR 15.451I to allow the use of the particle size analysis instead of the perk test, where we couldn't run one on site. And the last is from Littleton Board Health Regulation 27 to allow fill to meet breakout grading requirements within 10 feet of the lot line.
And is this the drainage? Oh, the trench right here?
That's
Is this
just,
next to his driveway?
so this is the proposed driveway. That's just a shallow surface drain to catch the runoff coming off the roof leaders and to catch the runoff coming off the driveway.
Jim had talked about that.
Yeah, and initially when we had the backyard, he was very concerned about the water coming off because it was a big mound in the backyard, that runoff going towards the neighbor's house.
Exactly, yeah, because their driveway's on the same side, their garage,
The
or?
driveway's in the front, but their house kind of runs front to back.
Oh, okay,
They're up against another wetland on this side, so their house is really close to this lot line.
okay.
so you said you're not doing this? This is a retaining wall, or what is?
No, this is sedimentation and erosion control.
Oh, okay.
Should we make another motion to approve
I guess entertain another motion to approve. Go ahead.
To approve all the variances that
Okay.
are noted.
at 3 Westchester Drive?
I'll second it.
Oh,
All in favor?
aye.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for coming. Okay, now we have a tough one. Maybe Take it easy.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
That's nice.
I have that now.
You can run it, if you want it.
I do.
Make a copy for it, because I like to have one of those.
Okay.
Hello. Did you guys sign in?
I'd be happy to.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, so I think should I read this first?
Or you can just open the meeting and let them start with what they want to say.
Okay, we closed the meeting prior, and also we have 7:17, open the meeting for the credit union. Okay? Okay, now. So I don't know if you're going to make me read all this thing here.
No.
No,
All right,
we'll let him
Be
introduce
very short.
himself.
I will be quick.
I like when you smile. Keep the smile, okay?
All right.
Be nice, okay?
I will be very.
The
try to
WCU
be
has
nice.
received a building permit with a building inspector condition.
Yep.
The board is being advised by the town council and the health agent not to write agreement is needed to accompany the variance already granted. Sorry for that little mistake, all right? So,
Thank you, and thank you for your time. You'll recall, we did obtain the variance. The variance had some particular conditions on it, one of which was an agreement that laid out the whole plan of occupying 44,000, and then at the time we wanted to go up. If sewer, we would hook to sewer. If sewer wasn't available, we would design and install a system, and we would go from there. However, what happened was, when we, and I drafted that agreement, and I sent it to town council, and town council made their comments in red and blue, and I was accepting of all their changes. We had no other changes. We had a couple little word smithing, but for the most part, I believe town council and I are in agreement on the agreement. And so we went to pull a building permit, as you know, and at that time, we were told that we couldn't pull a building permit until we designed and got a system approved. And that was confusing to me, because I had thought we were on the same page, that we weren't going to design and approve the system until we were ready to expand, and only if sewer wasn't available. But Mr. Garaffi said, no, you got to design that system now, or I can't sign off on your building permit. Well, we went back and forth on that, as you know, and then it turned out that the building inspector said that it really wasn't a function of the building permit and needing to have a system designed and installed for the building permit, but rather we would need to have Board of Health satisfied, or the agent satisfied, upon occupancy. So we got the building permit, and we were presented with the condition that prior to any occupancy, even 44,000 square feet, we would either have to connect into sewer or design and install the nitrogen reduction system for the whole building. So we understood that. We got the building permit, thank goodness, because we were being fined by our contractor, and you know how that is. So we're building. I had the opportunity to talk with Roland about that, and I said, Roland, what do you do when you have a big office building that has multiple floors, multiple tenants, or you have a mall, a strip mall, you know, where you fit out and rent them one at a time? How do you issue building permits for that? And yet we can't get a building permit for 44,000 square feet. And he said, well, Doug, the difference is you're one use, one unit, one building. I can't give you, you know, a sort of a part of an occupancy permit. So I said, well, if we were to, when we do the construction on the building, you'll recall, we only intended to finish the 44,000. We're literally going to wall off the other 16, no entrance, you know, wall it off, close it in. And Roland said, well, Doug, you know, and he says, we have to meet and talk about it, but there may be a way that in building your new building, as long as you divide it so that it's technically 2 units, and this is sort of building code requirements, right? Egress, access, you have to have a special wall between the 2 sections. He says, you know, if we can go through that and you guys can set it up so that it's technically 2 units, then we could talk about giving you an occupancy permit for your 44,000 square foot unit, you know, in your system. So we're going to do that. We haven't gotten to that point yet. And in fact, and I'm sorry, Robert Lockett is here with us from Workers' Credit Union, Brian Goodrow from Hancock. So these guys got the building permit and they're off working, and Brian and I are tasked. We're going to meet with Roland next week and the contractor, and maybe even come back to you guys if we need info. Town council also said, Doug, let me know. We'll work with you to see if there's a way to set it up so that you're separate. So everybody's been very helpful, and it's great. And that's the route we're going to go. If we can figure out over the next month or so that we can design it, well, then we'll occupy 44,000. We'll use our current system, and we won't do anything until, you know, some number of years from now. And then when sewer's available, we'll hook into sewer. If not, we will have to design, get approved through you guys, and put in the full system on site. Hopefully not, but that's what we will have to do to occupy the whole building. So everything is great. Good. The reason we asked for your time this evening is you'll recall that the variance you gave us, which we need, okay, that doesn't go away, unless of course we hook to sewer, right? Then everything goes away. It had some very specific conditions, and there were 5 of them. I would like to discuss with you changes to 3 of those conditions, because the last thing we want to do is move down this path and do all this work and spend all this money and then find out that technically I didn't satisfy one of these conditions, so technically your variance would be, you know, in default, or we'd be in default, or, you know, it would, I don't want to, you know, find ourselves in a legal change. So here, first of all, I don't know if you have them, but I do. If we need them, I have the meeting notes with the motion. So if I could, I'd just like to go through the 5 conditions and tell you what, and I'm going to do them out of order because some of them are fine. Condition 3 says, providing an acceptable nitrogen aggregation plan to utilize should town sewer not be installed. Well, of course, that was the backbone of the whole deal. So if sewer's not available, we will do a complete nitrogen reduction system, bring it in for your approval. So condition 3 is fine. Condition 4, implement a maintenance plan so the existing system is not compromised in the meantime. We're ready, willing, and able. Get that done. So no change there. Condition 5, executing a signed agreement with the town administrator. Town council has told me that we need to change that condition because the town administrator is not going to sign that agreement, nor should he, and town council is saying no. So I'd ask you to just eliminate that condition as per your own council's suggestion that, your town administrator shouldn't be a signatory to the agreement. So now condition 5 would actually propose to eliminate that condition. Condition 2 was the requirement for a signed agreement with the town to connect to the town sewer once installed, subject to approval to town council, applicant, town officials, and health agent. We also, again, I have no proposed change to that requirement. The agreement's done. We've come to agreement on the terms. I kind of like it because it really lays out the whole detail. It commits workers to sign, to hook into your sewer, and it also tells us that if sewer is not available, what we have to do in terms of the system. You recall the agreement clearly makes us, says what we have to do. Either hook into sewer or do a full nitrogen reduction system. So we like that agreement. Workers thinks it's a great agreement because it puts everything in writing. And again, although town council has raised the question, do you even need it? I don't believe it hurts to have it, especially when we've done all the work and it gives you all the nice details. And I brought you copies, and some nice light reading
Yeah, it's
for,
in the, we
for
have
at home.
We all have it.
I brought you the color one, so
that's
you
nice.
can see all of town council's suggested changes, and the only suggested change or redraft I had was the,
Are you blue or you red?
I am, the only change I had was, no, I guess my change isn't even here, but it didn't matter, it wasn't, no, I'm not blue. No, both sets are town councils. And again, I have no problem with any of them. I think really if you read them, town council just made it a little cleaner, a little crisper, took out some of my extra words, but we're fine with it. So we're not here to ask you to take that away. We're ready to sign the agreement. But again, I know town council had an opinion, so. The final condition, and the one that I really want to talk about, well, 5 was the most important. We got to get rid of that one because I can never satisfy it because the town administrator is not going to sign. But condition 1, I just want to make sure that we all understand, and I understand what was meant by that, because clearly number 3, which talked about providing an acceptable nitrogen aggregation plan should the town sewer not be installed, it was clear that there was some misunderstanding of what that one meant. Mr. Garaffi thought it meant we would do the system now, and we understood it meant
Design the system now, or
design and
install?
improve it.
Oh, okay.
And my understanding was we were only going to do that when we were ready to expand, if sewer wasn't available, because that's a lot of, you can appreciate it was a lot of money to do that. But anyways, at this point, 3 is fine. But number 1, it just said that you granted the variance, subject to the applicant occupying only 44,000 square feet. And that's true. We're only going to occupy 44,000 square feet, assuming we can get a partial, I'll call it a partial occupancy. If there's no way around that, we're just going to have to, unless sewer's available in a year, we're just going to have to put in the system. So, but I just want to understand, or help me to understand, number 1, that the grant of the variance was subject to us only occupying 44,000 square feet. At some point, we will be in 60,000 square feet. And we'll either be in 60,000 square feet connected to sewer or with a new system in the ground. So, should we add a word there that it's subject to the applicant initially occupying only 44,000 square feet? Because I don't want to be in a situation where way down the road, if sewer is not available, we build the system we're in, but now we're in 60,000 square feet, is the variance no longer applicable? You know, valid, because I've failed that condition? I think the implication was the word initially occupying only 44,000 feet.
This is a question that you have to ask the agent and the attorney, because right now, my itinerary says exactly to hold on everything and just wait, and you should deal with the attorney and the agent, and then you come in front of us, because right now, even though you say you talk to the agent, I understand what you're
No,
saying.
I haven't
right
talked to
now.
the agent.
Okay.
I spoke with the attorney only. This is
Okay.
my negotiations.
Right.
I
Okay.
drafted the agreement, sent
Well,
it
we
to
gotta,
him.
okay, we
He
gotta get
fixed
the
it.
okay from the attorney and for the agent. So what you able, I am sure that you will be able to have the 44,000 square feet, which will be no
Yeah.
problem.
I hope so.
And then
We'll see.
when you mention about closing the size 60,000 square
Mhm.
feet until you have the new system, because
Mhm.
if the sewage doesn't come through, you know what I mean, you're gonna have problem.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, the people in Littleton have to vote,
Vote
and
for
it
it,
takes 2-3 years because I work on it.
Mhm.
It doesn't come quick, like you say, let's build the building. In 2-3 months, the building is done.
Mhm.
When it comes to piping and everything that goes with it, people don't realize how long it takes to build a sewage treatment.
Well, I'm not asking you tonight to sign the agreement. I'm not even asking you to opine on whether you think the town council's changed it or any of that. I'm not asking to change the requirement in your variance that says we'll sign an agreement. We're fine with that.
Right.
I just,
But
that really is two conditions, and they were your conditions that you made,
we did.
you drafted them.
But see, we
When you
did, but the
granted the
question,
variance.
the attorney intervened, and they told us to stop until between you, the attorney, and the agent. So what we have here is something written, but we don't have the okay. We have to hold on to what I said here. I have to hold on to it. If you can do the 44,000 square feet,
Mhm.
but, and then if you, if, like I suggested to you couple months ago, you should go along with the design. At least you have that design done. Then the agent say, okay, now you go to the next step. If he says, you got the design, the sewage treatment will not maybe be in 2 or 3 years, because the people in Littleton have to vote for it. And if they don't vote, we can't promise you something, because we are, the Board of Health, they give you the okay, then we're gonna be in trouble. Then you're gonna sue us. We don't want that. We wanna do everything right. We want you to be happy, and I
As-
wanna see you smiling, like now. Okay?
I will
There's
tell
only
you-
so much we can do. I was instructed to do nothing now, nothing. We can't agree on anything. We listen to your story, which I appreciate it. You're here, we appreciate it. But the board, at the moment, we cannot give you anything.
All right, let me say
Okay.
a couple things.
I
in
have a
response.
question.
Sure.
Yeah, I do too.
Are you asking if our granting of the variance to Regulation 10 applies to the square footage from 44,000 to 66,000?
Yes, I guess.
Yeah.
Assumed it did.
I assume it did too.
Right.
So I think the answer is yes.
Well, I know, but again, guys, I'm not asking you to change any decision you made. It's just if I'm a third party reading this and it says, okay, the condition is that you got the variance as long as you only occupy 44,000 square feet. Well, if we occupy more than that, and eventually we will, right? And again, we're all hoping it's sewer, but you're right. If sewer doesn't come, we know, we've
Yeah.
already been told, we got to put in the whole new system.
Yeah.
But we don't want our variance to go away.
No, you don't. But the question, you gotta,
But see, you see what I'm saying?
The design
Am I
is
in
very
breach of the
important.
variance
Without
the
the
day I
design-
occupy more than 44,000, even if I put in a new system?
Can I read Jim Gareffi's comments?
Sure, I definitely.
And can I,
Go ahead,
And
Lisa.
just so you know, I've not spoken with Mr. Garaffi. I've spoken at length with Mr. Heap, Attorney Heap, the town council, and, you know, in doing this agreement. And I had a very nice conversation with him explaining why I was coming to see you. And I said, well, Chris, first of all, you're the one that told me I have to take the town administrator off this agreement. So my variance has already got a contradictory requirement. So I'm going to ask the board to take it away. He goes, well, yeah, because we don't want the administrator on the agreement, so that's fine. And I said, this term occupying only 44,000 square feet is confusing because it leads you to
It
believe.
doesn't call out from 44 to
Doesn't call you out
66.
before. I think the implication here was subject to us initially occupying only 44,000 square feet. But
Correct.
then the rest of this comes into play.
Right,
This
because,
whole-
because from 44 to 66,
Right.
you're going to get the variance, and you're going to provide us with the nitrogen aggregation plan that's going to be approved by our agent,
Right,
and we're
right,
done.
right.
That's
So,
why the agent wants to have the design, at least you're producing the design, and then from there, we can maneuver
well,
something.
Mr. Chairman, if the town votes, and my clients have told me that if the town votes not to move forward with the sewer, in all likelihood, we're just going to flip the switch, design the system,
Yeah.
put it in. I mean, right? That way we're sure, and we won't have any of these worries.
No, I understand.
The only thing I'm asking tonight is, and these were your conditions that you guys discussed at the time you granted the variance. I mean, bare bones, I guess I'm asking you to modify the conditions to, one, add the term initially occupying only 44,000, add the term initial, so it doesn't, kick the variance out if we go beyond that. And remove condition 5, which says the town administrator will sign the agreement. Because town council told me the administrator will not sign the agreement.
Where's the
So,
council?
can I just say, so in this, the paper that you brought,
That's the agreement itself, yeah.
agreement, it says applicant shall limit its initial
Yeah.
occupancy, so it's got initial in
Yeah, I
the
know,
agreement
yeah.
already,
Yeah.
and then I can't understand what it says after.
Well, but again, guys, my point is.
This is crossed out about
I just want the
60,000.
conditions on your variance to make sense, or to not be contradictory. And maybe it'll never be an issue, right? But I don't want to be the guy who, in a year from now, somebody says, your variance is invalid because it said you were going to get a town administrator's signature on agreement, and you didn't. Or I don't want someone saying, your variance is invalid because now you've, put in a system, you've occupied 60,000, and your variance said only 44. Where I think your point was that we would initially only occupy. So I'd like to add the word initial to number 1 and eliminate number 5. Nothing else, Mr. Chairman. We're not moving forward with the agreement or anything. I'll work with Mr. Garaffi and town council to finalize this. So I'll have them bring you this agreement.
Right.
Or, quite frankly, Mr. Chairman, if the town council calls me and says, this is unnecessary at this point, Doug, we don't require it anymore, I'm okay with that too, but then I'll be back here asking you guys to eliminate that requirement from the variance.
They never told me nothing about the administrator, so can we have the administrator out of the picture?
If you.
Let's read Jim's comments, okay?
Sure.
Go ahead, ladies.
So, for 119 Russell Street Workers' Credit Union, the applicant is on your agenda to discuss a modification of the variance that you approved for the property and for clarification on the conditions upon which the variance was granted. First, I want to provide you an update on the site. Because of the changes to the state building code, the applicant has their building permit. Prior approval of the Board of Health is not needed, and the applicant can start construction. The building code requires the Board of Health to sign off on the occupancy permit once the project is complete. Since the applicant now is able to construct the project, the need for the agreement is moot, and there is no reason to amend the variance or sign the agreement, certainly not at this time. I think it would be prudent to advise the applicant the newly renovated expanded building will need to be connected to a compliant method of sewage disposal before the board can endorse an occupancy permit for the building.
I read that before, so.
I agree
That's
with
why-
everything he said. Except,
You just want it to be clearer.
I just want those two conditions
Yeah,
fixed.
but those are limited already because we got it right here. It doesn't say nothing about the administrator.
Do you want to strike the word?
No, we're not
Only-
going to change anything. We're not going to
Yeah,
touch
we
it.
have to continue, I think we have to continue discussion after.
That's
Town council.
from the agent. But we can't, that administrator, I think, is
All
out
right, so
automatically.
if I will, I will talk to Mr. Heap
Okay.
and come down to an agreement on whether or not this agreement
Mhm.
is even necessary.
Right.
Okay?
Mhm.
Again, my opinion is, I think it's good to have it because it lays everything out for everybody. There's no surprises, no anything. We've known from day one that before we get an occupancy permit, we will have to be compliant with the law.
Right.
Now, whether that means we can do it with 44,000 square feet with the current system, that'll be determined by your building inspector and with Mr. Garaffi's
Right.
input.
And then if you had engaged the 60,000,
Yeah,
by then you already have the design,
yep.
and that way something happened. the
Well,
town-
again, if the town doesn't
because-
vote sewer, we'll have it built.
The
We're
question-
gonna build
yeah, The
it.
question is, people don't realize, they're gonna talk about it in May, but the real thing is gonna come in November.
Right.
So then you wasted another year. So the building's gonna be already built, and you probably will need to occupy the 60,000 square feet. And I say, like I told you before, even if you have it, something goes wrong with your, you know what I mean, and the sewage treatment come to place, you can use that, but vice versa, something happened today, you have a reserve. That's what you have.
Mhm.
You have like two aces. So, and I know it's gonna cost you a couple bucks, without doubts. But that is a safety precaution, because if we already had the system there, then you have no problem. You didn't even have to come here. But we don't have it, and the people are doubting whether they're gonna vote for it or not voting for it.
I will contact town council. I will discuss this idea of whether or not we need the agreement or not.
Right.
If it is determined that it's okay to have it, he determines it's okay to have it anyways. And again, my reason for wanting it is I like the fact that it gives a lot of details, so
Right.
there's no surprises here. It doesn't commit it. In fact, the only person it commits anything to is it commits workers to hook into your sewer. So,
That's it.
but from your perspective, it just gives you a lot of details of what we've agreed to and
Right,
what's gonna happen.
right.
So I like the idea of having it, to be honest
Okay.
with you. But again, I will discuss with Mr. Heap,
Right.
Attorney Heap, and we'll come to an agreement what he wants to do with, and again, Mr. Garaffi will be involved, but we'll come to an agreement with them what they want to do with the agreement.
Right.
Okay? Let's say we decide agreement's not needed.
Right.
I'm gonna have to come back here and ask you to modify the conditions of the variance to take out the requirement for the agreement. And I'll ask you to take out the requirement that the administrator sign the agreement.
Yeah, you mentioned to the Garaffi, that way he will
And
give us an
and
input.
I will ask that you add the word only, or initially, in front of the 44,000, so it's consistent with the agreement, whether we sign it or not.
And by the time that all happens, you'll build the whole building. you'll
Oh,
remove
no, I gotta get this done
I know.
now. But does that make sense to you guys? Do you know what I'm meaning about having to change just the wording of the conditions so that we don't find ourselves in breach
No, yeah.
down the road? Okay,
Right,
so.
discuss it with the attorney and
Okay.
discuss it with.
So I will make sure that
agent.
Mr. Heap and Mr. Garaffi essentially give you guys instructions
Right,
as to which modifications to the conditions
right,
are acceptable to them.
Right.
Is that what you want, right?
right.
Yeah.
So, in other words, Chris would say, okay, yes, the intention was initially, so you can add the word initially. We're not gonna have an agreement, so take out that requirement, and take out number 5, because if we don't have agreement,
You're
the
gonna have the
administrator's not signing it anyways.
You're gonna have the design in the meantime, and
Well, again, we're gonna work with the building inspector to see if there's a way we can occupy the 44 with the current system.
yes.
If that's the case, then we're gonna wait a little while, see if sewer comes.
Mhm.
But believe me, and it says it in the agreement, it says it everywhere else, we cannot occupy more than 44,000 until and unless we hook to the sewer or design and
That's a good
build
idea, that's a good
the
idea.
new system. And as my client said, if the town doesn't vote for sewer, we're just gonna move ahead with designing and building the
That's
system.
it.
Right.
But I still have to make sure the variance wording is correct, so that we don't find ourselves in just a, who knows, 3 years from now, I might be looking at different people, and they're gonna go, well, Doug, it says 44,000, and you're at 60, so you're in breach or something, that's all.
Yep.
I'm not trying to change the terms, I just want to make it clear to people down the road, because obviously, like I said, I learned a lesson in this whole building permit thing, that condition number, the one that said you'll design and install a system, clearly, there wasn't a meeting of the minds of when that was going to happen. We assumed it was going to be when and if we went up to 60 and sewer wasn't available. Mr. Graffi felt that meant do it right now. So, obviously, we didn't have a meeting of the minds. I want to make sure we don't run into that again down the road. So, I will do just that. I will talk to Mr. Heap and Mr. Graffi, with eventually, hopefully, they'll send you a letter saying, we've discussed this, and these are the modifications you can make to the conditions of this. And one of them might be eliminating the agreement. Again, we'd like to have it, but if town council feels strongly, we're not going to disagree. Does that make sense? Was I clear? I know this has been confusing, and I apologize.
No,
but
it's not confusing.
I just want to make sure. I mean, I know this is a little out of the ordinary. It's
I'm gonna keep this in your hand.
been a
Here we
battle. Not a battle, it's just been a lot of...
A lot of steps.
So I just have a real quick clarification, I guess, for my own part. Based on Mr. Garaffi's comments, does this board have an issue with signing an occupancy permit for 44,000 square feet unit, whatever that one unit is, and reserving kind of the occupancy for the 16,000 based on a design of a 60,000 gallon, or a 60,000 square foot system?
Based
So
on
right-
the building permit, that's not even an option. It's outside of their purview. That's totally up to Roland.
Yeah, that's
Right,
rolling.
so if there's a building permit or an occupancy permit for
The building
44,
permit is only for 66. It is not for 44.
The building permit.
the building,
So my question is, if we get to the point where we've finished the 44,000 square feet and we're seeking occupancy,
of 44.
and Roland says to us that we've designed it in such a way that they consider the 44,000 a separate unit, and therefore the 44,000, the existing system, it all works,
Then he'll pass it back to Jim.
then you pass it Jim.
If Jim approves it, then it'll
All
come
right,
to the
and
board.
Brian, your question was, is there a reason that Jim wouldn't approve that?
Is there any concerns that this board would have of signing that 44,000 square foot occupancy?
Not I.
It just says. what-
Not if Roland says,
Right.
we've
Roland-
separated, so it's
Right.
really just,
And if what
But if
Jim's
the-
comments
But
are,
if Jim's
Gotta-
comments
yeah.
end up being exactly the same
Yeah,
as they stand
because
right
then-
now,
well, we don't know that.
we
Then the
don't know
building
that,
inspector's
but I'm kind of looking for
should
that
we ask Mr.
clarification.
Garaffi that, maybe?
You have a working septic system for 44,000
Yeah,
square
you
feet,
do.
so there's no reason in my mind why I wouldn't vote for giving you occupancy for that.
As long as Roland says it's okay, that
To
we've
occupy
separated the building.
That
Right.
specific unit,
Right.
that amount of square
Yeah,
foot.
you know, I'm sorry that we don't have a sewage treatment, because it would have saved a lot of time, make you smile more. The gentleman be smiling all the way to the bank, from your bank to another bank. You know
He
what
is a
I'm saying?
bank.
He is a bank.
Yeah, I know,
He's a
but he's a
bank.
bank,
He's
you
the
go to
bank.
another bank, because your bank would be full of money already, so you go, now, we
I
we
do
feel-
understand, though,
We feel
that
bad,
the-
we feel bad, we don't have a
No,
system.
You guys
And
have been great help
And we
working with
appreciate
this.
you coming to Littleton for the business, but, we were not really anticipating, like, you're talking about 44 and 60,000 square feet, that's a lot
And
of
we've kind of taken a
square
whole,
feet.
Well, remember,
180.
the meeting that we
Guys were
came
talking about
into
us-
you, that the whole sewer thing came to play, we were actually coming in to talk about
Yeah.
designing of the system and getting,
You're correct.
that's the path we were going
what
down.
was that land called? Bonus land? or-
Credit land, yeah.
Credit land, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And then all of a sudden, a lot of people said, geez, it's gonna cost us so much
Okay.
money,
All right.
What's gonna happen, you know, the district is gonna be in control.
Well, again, we kind of got,
You know?
but again, it was a turn in the road that, in many ways, we were happy to hear, right? That, hey, you're not gonna have to design this complicated, crazy system.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, maybe sewer will be the answer, and everything was good, and then
When I felt
we
that.
kind of went off the road a little.
I did.
Yeah,
The reason I mentioned what I told you, to have a second ace, like your own system,
Yep.
because I can hear other people complaining about it, say, I don't know if it's gonna go through now. And that's why I was trying to prepare you to say, hey, if you're gonna build something and you want 600 people there, you might as well have your own system. That way you don't have no problem.
Well, again, that was our original plan. That's when that meeting a couple months back, we came in, was to talk about some questions we had. and,
Right, right.
You know, we were looking at credit land, we were looking at nitrogen design, we were doing all of that. But then we kind of got sidetracked
Yeah,
when the
I'm
whole
sorry.
sewer thing came up, and I had to do
Too many
the
choices.
agreement. Well, no, but it was a great choice, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not having to do a system connecting to sewer,
Yeah.
that's the best interest of everybody, including my client, so.
All
You
right.
know, we jumped on the bandwagon. So, all right, I will get a letter from town council to you guys saying that and again, I'll bring Mr. Garaffi, who will be involved as
Yeah.
well.
Right.
Just telling you guys that these are the changes that are acceptable to the conditions only of the variance, all right?
44,000.
And then I can just bring that letter in and you won't even have to listen to me next time, right? I'll just smile.
No, you can keep
I'll just
smiling.
smile.
Look, he's smiling
Yeah,
already.
He
we'll-
likes it when you
We'll
smile.
just smile, and you guys make the changes, as long as town council and Mr. Garaffi
Right.
give you the thumbs up.
Right.
All right, I feel confident about that, only because,
Yes,
may I make a motion?
you may.
I'd like to make a motion to continue this until the next time.
I don't know if we should, I don't think there's a need for continuing.
Or you want to close
I
it?
don't think so.
well,
either.
no,
We should
it is a
continue
big
it.
hearing,
Yeah.
because you're gonna make a modification to to the conditions of the variance.
Once we hear from town council and Jim.
No, we're not tonight, we're not.
Not tonight, that's
No,
what I'm
that's
saying,
why
you
he
might
wants-
wanna
Continue
continue the meeting.
discussion.
I'd like to make a motion to continue.
Yeah, if you want to make a motion, Brian.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Okay,
It continues.
See you next time.
I'll be here.
the next chapter.
Thank you.
Is there an over and under on the sewer vote? Laying any money down?
It all depends what Gino says at town meeting.
What's that?
It all depends what Gino says at town meeting.
Oh, then it's gonna get passed, right?
He's the rabble rouser.
I'm forward. The question,
Are you for it?
a lot of people have
Are you for
doubts.
it?
I'm for it. The question is, I can't talk to you guys because you actually have business in Littleton, but you're not in Littleton.
No, I'm
So
not.
I have to reserve my
Doug,
thoughts.
did you forget your pen? Is that your pen?
Oh, yeah, you
See, I
can-
just leave those for free advertising.
Oh, it's got your pen.
Someone will pick it up, and
Next time you come, you bring 5 more, okay?
that's not me. Okay. This is
All
me.
right, Gina?
What was I gonna say? Yeah, no, I didn't know, so we'll see what the vote is, but, it's interesting. Good luck. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you
For coming in.
Thanks.
All right.
What's next?
Some quick administrative matters. Gino, can I get you to pay a couple bills?
Okay.
And I have some permits to be signed. And then if there are member comments, I forgot to put that on the agenda, but we
Do
can
we have
go
minutes?
around.
We don't have minutes?
Oh, we do. We have one set of minutes for March 12th because we weren't here
Right.
to vote on them last. And I think I've heard from all of you,
Okay. So,
Even Gino?
except for Gina. So, Gina wants to look at them, or?
I feel bad, you know, what are you gonna do? How much you can do?
when does the tobacco lady
They're
come back in again?
coming
or-
next time because we knew Erin was going to be out today.
Oh, okay.
So next time, is that our public hearing with her?
Yes,
And is it gonna be right here?
it is.
It's gonna be what? Public
here.
hearing?
Okay.
Did they get passed that way?
Give me
What?
that so I can
Gino,
pass it
did you
to-
pass the permits that way?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm the holdup.
She's the holder.
No, you didn't pass them that way. Pass those that way.
Why? Give me that, but give them all of them, all
They
at
need
once.
to sign it.
See what happens when you have two women here? They
nice.
boss you around.
Leave that there.
See? See? Pass it around, then I pass it around, she says, hold it.
Oh, here's 20.
16 Powers Road.
I signed it. Don't you feel bad? I feel bad, huh?
Where's Powers Road? We have a Powers Road in
Okay.
Littleton? Oh, yeah. Okay.
One thing, it was 44,000. Then it's now 60,000.
Well,
They
you,
need their own system.
wondering if they're gonna, like, build the whole 66,000
Oh, yeah, they're gonna build on it. The question
and then
is,
block it off?
They're
Or
gonna
do
have to
they
block
do
it.
40,000 and then
it's
six?
very easy to
then-
block it off. All you have to put is a...
I guess we shouldn't be talking about this. We've
No.
closed the, yeah.
Don't worry about it. Here, young lady.
Gino, did you read the minutes?
Yes, I did. I waited till they...
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can I get it now?
You already got this one.
What about the other one? There's another one
What other
underneath.
one?
There's another one underneath.
Oh,
Yeah?
oh.
Yeah?
Is this, no plans with this one?
You don't
Five
believe me,
spot
huh?
and arrow?
See, you think you know everything.
Yeah, it's simple. and it's not-
Another one.
This permit is for
Say, Gina,
replacement of
you were right.
existing. You were right, Gino.
Thank you.
I rise your
Was this 20 Westchester Drive? Was that the one that we talked about?
You did, but we didn't have the permit at the time.
Okay. Was this the one that we talked about drainage to the street?
I think so.
Or was
yeah.
that, because that, they say nothing about that on this.
I don't know, I know he spoke with the highway department.
You signed it? Okay, thank you. Merci beaucoup. Okay.
Was it just, that's, did they agree to a two-bedroom house in Westchester? Remember that guy that had the, we talked about, there were two abutters and they were worried about water coming into their lawn and we talked about getting some drainage off to the street.
Yeah, maybe changed it.
Is it always two-bedroom in Westchester?
It's a three-bedroom system with a two-bedroom restriction.
Today's the 8th.
I'm gonna give this back to you because I printed out
Okay.
and have it as an extra for Gino next time.
So I've included in your packets the tobacco regulation, which I had also sent electronically, so that everyone reviews it and marks up the pages before next meeting.
What's that?
That's mine.
Okay.
Okay, Gino, so you're gonna look over the tobacco regulation stuff before next meeting, okay?
For the next meeting.
Yep, so make sure you look it up and you look at them
As
and
soon as
pay
I go home, I'll
attention.
look it up. Not tonight.
Right,
I'm gonna go to sleep.
yeah, I know.
I'll be
Okay.
sleeping 3 hours
So-
a day.
Make a motion to approve the minutes. What was the date?
In March.
3:12.
For March 12th?
Mhm.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye. So I went to the TikTok
Oh.
in Harvard last Wednesday, and it was pretty interesting. It was pretty much given by a professor at UMass Amherst in the zoology department. And they have a program called the Tick Report that you can, if you get bitten by a tick,
Yeah.
you save the tick out. They showed you how to, pamphlet that shows you how to remove it. Send the tick, put the tick in a bag, and send it to, there's a website with all the information and everything. And within 72 hours, they will test the tick and tell you what kind of pathogens the tick has, and that's something that you might be possibly exposed to. So it's not meant to diagnose anything, but it's just something that you can use to discuss with your doctor if you have symptoms, or if you have a bullseye, you can say, yeah. So, they, and I talked to Jim today, they are offering a discount on the testing. There's a charge for it. You're basically $50 or less. Right now, it's $50, but to anybody within the Neshoba Board of Health towns, we're going to have a discounted rate for it. So Jim said no more than 50. They're still negotiating a price, but it's a nice little, he says they're gonna advertise it a little bit more, or offer it and make it more
Widely known.
that it's that it is available to us. So just,
Can we put that on our website?
Yeah, I guess once it's.
it wasn't I didn't ask them, but they might come to another, if they wanted, if we could get enough people.
To put it on a TV. You want me to tell them that?
Well, I think after Jim gives us an idea of how much it will cost.
No, you're talking about on local TV.
Right.
It's not gonna cost anything because
No,
it's public.
but the test will cost the
Oh,
person
okay,
sending the
yeah,
tick in.
yeah, okay.
So if you are interested, rather than
Mhm.
say it's gonna cost $50, but if it's
Right.
gonna cost 25,
Right,
then
right.
more people, then we can maybe advertise it. But I'm just afraid that people are gonna get 5 different ticks, and they're gonna send 5, every week this summer. So I don't think it's meant for that.
$50.
I don't think it's meant for that,
Right.
but so they had a lot of statistics, and it was kind of interesting, because when you go on the website and you send the information in where you live, where you think you might have gotten the tick, they had a map of Massachusetts, and an urban, like Boston, every town was highlighted, pale purple, medium purple, and dark purple. It was hard to see. It was in a town hall with no lights or anything like that. But that Boston was dark purple. And I thought that one of the urban centers wouldn't have as much tick, the latent tick bites, engorgements is what they called them. But then on the other hand, according to the data, it's where the tick was sent from. So it's the zip code from where you picked off the tick. So they might have gotten it in Littleton and then found it in Boston. And so they're doing a lot of research, and we're helping them do their research by doing this, because they get ticks from all over the place. They got a tick from Hawaii, which somebody got when they spent a weekend or a week in New England or wherever, somewhere in the States, and then traveled back to Hawaii, and they found it in Hawaii, so they sent it to UMass. So they talked about, disease transmission, and, how easy it is to get, it's a small world, how easy it is to get from one place to another now. So they had some information. They had this little tick,
Oh, that's nice.
little.
ID card.
Yeah, see which kind of tick you really got, because there's at least 3 pathogens, the anaplasmosis, Lyme, and babiosa or something like that,
The worst one.
that we can get.
Mm.
And there's only certain ticks. I wrote it down on my
They're
phone.
very small.
There's 3 ticks. There's a deer
If you see
tick.
a round circle,
Bullseye.
you better go to the doctor.
There's
and use
another-
some
there's-
antibiotic.
Yeah,
Anyway.
My son had Lyme very badly.
Yeah.
Did they talk
God
about
bless you.
spraying programs?
He didn't really know
And I
that
worked in
much about that. I
construction,
asked about the lawn
I
care,
was
because
lucky.
how True
I would
Green,
put
they're all
long sleeves
advertising
and
that they can
gloves
treat
and-
your yard for mosquitoes
was
and ticks.
protected.
He didn't really know anything about that, but keeping everything trimmed and
Yeah.
pushed back will be good. One thing that was kind of also interesting, but that it's not very scientific how they collect ticks. They take a white sheet of paper, a white sheet, piece of cloth, and they run it through a field, and the ticks jump on it, and that's how they collect ticks. So it's not like they're.
We're going to see
Oh.
it there too.
All right, so,
What are they collecting
so
them
it'll,
for?
so these are my notes. So it was, the longer the
See what
tick
they
is
have.
feeding, the greater
Yeah.
chance of getting sick. This is not intended for diagnosis. It tests for 21 pathogens, but you're not doomed if you're bitten. And to remove it in the first 24 hours increases your chances of not getting something. Friends of Neshoba Nursing, there's 16 towns discounting the tick test for a limited amount of tests, first come, first serve. So the ticks that are carry the harmful pathogens are the dog tick, the horse/deer tick, and a lone star tick that is coming from the south, maybe because of climate change. There's another tick called the Asian longhorn tick. It's here, but it doesn't feed on humans. So there's certain ticks that you don't really have to worry
With
about.
animal.
Yeah.
Did they look different?
Asian longhorn, isn't that the one that does damage to trees?
That's a beetle.
Or the beetle?
Yeah.
Yeah. Whoop-de-doo.
So anyway, Jim was going to get back to me, or get back to us about the cost of this test. So we can provide, offer it on the website, I guess, or just let people know that it's around. So,
Ask Roland
And that we get a
if he got somebody,
yeah.
the gentleman named Roland Bernie, they complained against a neighbor. He wrote a letter to Roland,
Yeah.
Roland,
Mm-hmm.
and he sent them a letter. I got an email. There's a very complicated. It's like a long letter. so
Okay, send me the letter. He gets complaints all the time, so he probably did.
Ask
but-
Roland to.
Can you forward that to Janet?
Well, you know her email? Okay, right here.
My
Give it to her.
J.
You know her
Fairchild.
email? I don't.
J. Fairchild.
Do you have an iPhone?
What's the complaint?
Do I?
Do you know how to, I don't think he pressed it, I don't know if he pressed it, but, wait a minute.
Not for, I don't.
Then you make
does it
copies,
for
so
email?
the question is, it's nothing to do with the Board of Health.
Just
It
Jan
was
J.
something to do with the building inspector.
Fairchild.
So he wrote
At
to me,
Littleton, MA.
because he knows me, right? And he has a neighbor, he's got a trailer, he's got a lot of junk.
On Harwood?
No, I don't, I'm trying
Oh,
to,
there, he's got,
Maybe we continue this discussion when
Because
we
I
have
send
more
you guys
information.
stuff all the time.
no,
You
well, I have the
can't
information
send
right
your
there, but I'm not
message
gonna
to
read
Jane.
this. It takes me an hour to read
Yeah.
it. It's a long, she can make copy. you can
Yeah,
make
so we can talk about it
The
at the next
question is,
meeting.
the decision already is being made by the building inspector, which is the Roman. And he sent them a letter to this gentleman, that he's nothing he can do, because this guy, he's got a trailer, and he has the right to have a trailer. But the neighbors complaining because there's lights at night, lights in the morning, people in and out, you know what I mean? So he doesn't know what's going on. And he feels that his property is gonna devalue. That's whatever, when you have neighbors that don't take care of their own property, you know?
where's that?
She will give you a letter,
right, never mind.
and you can read it, you see? It's so small, it takes me an hour to read it. Look,
Need a bigger phone.
look, look, I know, but I'm gonna then move her around.
All right, do you want to make a motion to close the meeting?
Okay, anybody entertain a motion for end of the meeting?
Go ahead.
I'll second that.
Who first it?
I say entertain a motion.
Oh,
Somebody has to
I
make
already
motion.
made a motion to
I'll make a motion to
close the,
adjourn.
close the meeting and
Second.
adjourn. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed?
Here, Janet.